think we'll make a start then, everybody, if that's okay, because I don't know how many people we're expecting. I haven't done this before. Well, I kind of have. It'll make sense in a minute. So I've kind of prepared a bit of a sharing from me, but really what I want to do is hear from you. And the workshop I've just been in, the lady asked us to share our ideas at the end, and we've got loads and loads from that part. So I'm hoping to get through me talking really quickly and also sharing to be the most part of the session, if that's okay. So the session is about getting into schools, how we go about getting into schools, the sort of things we can do when we're in schools, and the why. So I'll give you a little bit of background first of all. I'm very new to this role, so I started as a children and families worker in September. I've been a church member for ages and ages and helped out with the junior church and things at the church I'm a member of. But I've been a teacher for 34 years. Retired from teaching in primary school in August, ready for this job in September. So I've got lots and lots of experience in the school bit, less experience in the children and families work in churches bit, apart from the voluntary stuff that you do when you're a church member and you just pitch in, and help out because there's nobody to do it on one Sunday. I'm also very last minute to this workshop. This wasn't my workshop. In fact, I was booked to sit where you're sitting to see what I could find out about working in schools. And then Megan contacted me and said the lady that was meant to be leading it couldn't do it anymore. So could I do it because I used to work in schools? So I've kind of jumped in at the last minute. So I'm hoping that I will gain as much from you as I'll be able to give. And I'm not sure how much I will be able to give you, because my experience from the church side of things is probably less than most of yours, but hopefully between us we'll learn and gain something today. So there's different perspectives around work in church, from church and school. How schools see it and how churches see it is often different. And sometimes people within the schools and within the churches see it differently. So when I was a head teacher in a school, if the local church contacted me and said, can we come in? Do you want to bring the children for something? I always jumped at it because I was already a Christian, I was already a church member, and that was always what I wanted the schools to be doing. I know that's not always the case. Also, within churches, there can be a different understanding of what church work in schools is. Now, Debbie and I work together, and the minister that we share wasn't very keen for us to be in churches, was he? When I started my role, he said to me, in schools, not in churches. He said to me, don't be spending all your time in schools, they'll just want you to do assemblies because it saves them a job. And I disagree with that. I think getting into schools, it's not just about assemblies, it's about building those bridges. So yes, leading assemblies is part of it, and I will talk about leading assemblies today. But it's also helping the schools to deliver what they need to deliver and to increase their faith input with the children. And I do very strongly believe that it helps us as churches and helps spread the word that we're wanting to spread. Hugely, I think the benefit that we get as a church from working in schools is much higher than the head teacher getting a Monday off because she doesn't have to do an assembly that day because you're doing it. So hopefully I'll persuade you of that by the end. If you need any, you might all be on the same wavelength with me anyway. Oh, I forgot to tell you who I was. Sorry, I'm Sam. My name's Sam Thompson, by the way. And I work at Stocksbridge, at Christ Church and the Christian Centre across the two churches. And I'm a member of a church in West Norton, the URC church. So that's just background. So benefits. It helps the schools find out what we're offering in the church, and as I said, that for me is one of the biggest benefits from a church point of view. Communities, I feel, certainly since COVID, communities aren't as cohesive as they used to be. And where one of the churches that Debbie and I work in, the school is practically next door, but they didn't have anything to do with each other really because it was really difficult. So one of the benefits of you getting into schools is that the schools then know what's happening at the church from a community point of view as well as a faith point of view. It's a benefit to the school because you can help them out with teaching things like RE, collective worship, celebrating Christian festivals, etc. I mean, there's a million other things you could probably add to that list. The teaching of RE, in my experience as a teacher, is something that tends to get left for the person that covers your PPA time, or a Friday afternoon and then, oops, we've run out of time, never mind, we'll do it next week. Or left to be part of assemblies and collective worship. And not all schools have assembly every day now. And though the legislation says assembly should be broadly and mainly of a Christian character, in some schools there's not that Christian viewpoint through assemblies either. So by us being able to go in and support with that, that's a really good role that we can have. It's a real shop window, both ways, I think, a real shop window, so that we can get to know the children and families in the schools and the staff in the schools, and they can get to know us. And as I mentioned earlier, it really does build positive relationships in the community. But there are difficulties. I don't know whether any of you have found this, and I'm going to ask you in a minute, and hopefully you've got some ideas, but for me, making initial contact with the schools was really difficult. So I'm not from Stocksbridge, I didn't teach in Stocksbridge, so when I started the role, I was completely new, trying to get in contact with schools and say, hi, I'm here, I can come in and do this. And I tried to sell myself by saying, you know, I am a teacher, I can lead groups if you want, let me hear readers, I'll do a booster group. But it was still really difficult to get in. So has anybody got any really great tips for how to break the ice and how to get into the schools in the first place?
This is my colleague Josie, we work together. We use some materials from Scripture Union, and they provide like a letter that you literally
do they?
there.
Great.
If you're using their materials. So that's one way. But we've had a similar experience as well, where sometimes it's just, or sometimes they're really eager, but then like nothing ever kind of.
Yeah. Definitely going in rather than just emailing.
Yeah.
I've never had an email back, but going in person.
Yeah, I agree.
Even that sometimes doesn't work though.
No, I know. But keep going, I think, is the key. I mean, in a little bit, I'll talk about some of the things that I tried and some things that worked. So if you please feel free to just chip in with things that you've done, and things that have worked, or things you've tried and didn't work.
We broke the ice because they wanted to come and use the church as part of their curriculum.
Yeah.
And then we put a lot of effort into that, and the kids really enjoyed it, so that kind of broke the ice. But I think it was putting the effort into that initial contact to make sure it worked well.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
I would agree with that. It's in my parish, my last parish, I was told that the schools didn't want to do anything with the church, and they're just across the road. So emails, cards, nothing worked. So I said, I'm going to show my face. Or we don't want churches here, and we don't want anybody here. So, but it's a part of the curriculum, right? So, and I will be able to help you with that. And at that time, we had the children's family worker, and this is we can help. So at the end of the day, for 10 years, the children come to school, come to church 4 times a year. And that was, for me, I thought was better because I was on my ground. I was at a safe ground, because in assembly there were a lot of things that we couldn't do. But there, and then we created that relationship. The church became part of the ministry.
Yeah.
And when we did a Christmas card competition, so all the children in the school were part of it. We invited them to be part of the Christmas card competition, and it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I think sometimes it can work both ways.
I agree, definitely. I think it's definitely a two-way street, isn't it? It's not about us going in to preach or us trying to get the children to come to a service. It's about that wider view of what we can offer and what we can gain as well. Thank you, that's great. I'm going to take that Christmas card idea.
I mean, certainly my advice would be to offer something to the school that you can do for them. Get them I always find it works well if you can get them to come to you. Do what you do well, and create this desire from the school to want to actually come and do that again, because they have such a good experience. And I found through that and them being secure in the fact that it's going to be something, it's a good event done well, then getting into school to do assemblies and to talk to the children and the staff, because the staff are listening as well, don't forget. It's much easier that way round than trying to get into school first before you get them into church. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it works both ways, doesn't it? Because, I mean, I know Debbie, but you've got a really great link with the infant school that's near to us. And you've done that, and in fact I've got some pictures of one of your sessions later on in here. You're not on it, don't worry. But that does work really well. But then if you feel more comfortable just to go in and show your face, like you mentioned, and just start to break down those barriers to start with. But we'll come to that. So
I've just thought of one more thing. End of term.
Yes.
Big box of chocolates or something or other, just to know that the staff, you're thinking of the staff.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a brilliant idea.
Just something, when staff are on their knees, really.
I'm glad to have left that behind. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Thank you. So another difficulty is deciding what you can offer, and that really does depend on how you feel, how confident you are, what volunteers and physical resources as well you've got to offer, and what you think will work best in your community. Finding the time is also difficult. I mean, we're fortunate in that I'm actually a paid worker, not just a volunteer, so I have got time within my contract to go into schools. But if you're a volunteer and you're already doing junior church, or you're doing services and then you're doing a kids club in the week, to find the time to go into schools as well is difficult. Differences of opinion we've mentioned, and maintaining communication, we've probably already mentioned that as well. So these are just some techniques of things that I've either done myself or experienced when I was a head in school with churches making contact with my schools. So email and introduce yourself, we've talked about that, and then pop in and say hello, and you've mentioned that. So in Stocksbridge there's 3 schools that I've tried to get in contact with. The infants that Debbie had already established brilliant relationships with, that's dead easy. The head there is so keen, she's fantastic, she really wants to be involved in everything. Then there's a Catholic school who were really keen as well, and then there's the junior school, which is right next door to the church. You can see into the junior school from the church car park, who have been really difficult to engage. So what I tend to do is, when I'm at church during the week, I'll just walk up the hill and just go to reception and say, oh, hello, hi, it's me, remember me from next door, can I come and do? And then now they've got a face to put to the name and to put to the emails as well. And we're starting to make a few inroads there. Get to know the office staff. In a school, the admin and office staff run the place. Now, the head thinks she runs the place. I used to think I ran the place, but, it's the office staff that do. And a bit like doctors' receptionists, they're the ones that will decide if you get past that first little entrance door or not. So get to know the admin and office staff. Ring them up, pop in, know their names. That's a really great way to make a relationship. And offer your services for non-church related things. Now, you may not feel as comfortable doing this as I felt, because I'd already been in school anyway, but offer to go in and just hear some readers, just so that they start to get to know your face and get to know your name. If the school have got a summer fair or something coming up, offer to go and help run a stall, offer to make the tea, offer to take the biscuits round. If you've got time, and I've put time warning in brackets here because it can be very time consuming, you could offer to be on the school governing body. Schools always are looking for community governors. It is quite a commitment to be a school governor, but if you have got the time to do that, that's something you could do as well. So when you're starting to make those links, don't just think about, can I lead this assembly, can I run that RE lesson, can I invite the children in for a service at the church. Think about the general little things you can offer, just a bit of time to start to build those relationships. Use the existing links that you've got. You might have members in church who've already got a link with that particular school. You might have people whose grandchildren go there. You might have children in your junior church who go to that school already. There might be people who are employed at the school that you know. So use those links to try and make that first connection. And then once you're in, play to your strengths. Now, the school I last worked at, which was actually over in West Yorkshire, there was a minister from the Anglican church there who used to come in, Rev Paul we call him, And he would always come and dress up. I don't know whether he officially did open the book, but he always used to dress up. And the kids loved it, absolutely loved it. Every time it was a Rev Paul assembly, they loved it. And then that church then started to offer activities and services for the children to go into. And then they wanted to go because they knew it was going to be Rev Paul. Now, dressing up might not be your strength. That was his, absolutely. And as far as I know, he still does it now. So decide what your strength is. I like to sing and I play the guitar, and I used to do school choirs and things, so that's what I offer when I go in. I say, do you want me to do a singing group? But you will know what your USP is, ISP, and what you want to offer. It may be that your church building has something to offer. You may have a particularly historic building that could feed into the history curriculum, and most schools will do a local study as part of their history and geography, as well as the RE curriculum. It may be that your church is a really lovely modern building and you've got a great flexible space that you can offer as a USP. So think about what it is that you can offer to the school. So then some resources. So I've made a list of some of the resources that I've used, and I've put the links on to these, which hopefully will work so you can see what they look like, because most of these are online resources. And then I'd like us to share ideas for resources we've used. I've tried to stick to things that I've used in schools as well as just in church, because that's kind of the focus. So this first one is Big Start Assemblies. So this has come from Spring Harvest. They do a Big Start every morning, an all-age worship. And I looked at this first of all when I was trying to get all-age worship started in one of the churches I belonged to at the time. And then I started using it in school to do assemblies. So it looks like this, if it's going to work. No? Is it going to work? Maybe it's not. Oh. Okay. Oh, hang on, something's happening. But it's not happening on that. Right. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. It's working on my computer. That's what it looks like on the computer. And you type in, there is a cost to this, I'm afraid, but it used to be just for schools. Now they have the package for churches and you get everything that the schools get. So you type in the theme that you're looking for and it gives you whatever assemblies they've got on that. All the assemblies come with a pre-prepared PowerPoint that has got talking points, it's got sharing ideas for the children. Quite often it's got video, and the videos are great. We talked about this a little bit in the session I've just been in. A lot of the videos you can get to use with children are very, very American, aren't they? If you go on YouTube and things. Whereas in Big Start, they're British-made videos, and they're British accents. And they're just a little bit more... kind of a bit more tongue-in-cheek in a way. There's a fantastic one on the lost sheep, which we're looking at in a couple of weeks' time, with the farmer and the puppet sheep, and he's counting his sheep in, and there's a little mischievous sheep that goes off and hides. It's really well done, so that's really worth looking at for the videos alone. They've also got songs that are embedded into the PowerPoints, so if you want to learn new songs and teach new songs, you can do that. Sorry, I'll just have to show you them on here, because it's not going to work on the screen, I don't think. Do this.
Oh,
So you're
the other thing I use is Sparkyard. So in schools, a lot of schools use Out of the Ark for music. So I keep looking up there as if it's up there. About 20 years ago, a couple started writing their own music for schools to use in assemblies and in nativity plays and things like that. And they called it Out of the Ark, and it's just grown and grown and grown, and they've got, well, I don't know, probably about 50 different collections of music that you can use now. So we used to use those in schools. I've been doing it long enough that we had the CDs first of all, and now you can get them all online. They offer it as a church package as well. So it's called Sparkyard, the company that offers the church package, but it's the same thing. I think it's about £70 for a full year, but as many people in your church as want to use it can use it. And you can just use the songs. They come up on the screen and the words change colour as it goes through the song so the children can sing with it. There's backing tracks with children already singing on. If you haven't got very many or you haven't got many loud singers, you can have the children singing in the background as well. And because lots and lots of schools use them, the children often know the songs. So Debbie's doing a walk through Holy Week in a few weeks, and the songs that are on Sparkyard are songs that the head teacher knows. So we've chosen those songs so they can practice them in school as well. So that's really useful. Let's use that. See if the cat comes back again. Yeah, that's Mabel. That's my cat. Assemblies.org, that's not very exciting to look at, so I won't show you. That's just an online bank of assemblies. So there aren't resources as such with that, but there are scripts and there are suggestions of songs and suggestions of activities. Out of the box, a lot of you probably know about, and there's an out of the box stall downstairs. So I've just started with out of the box myself. Haven't done the full training yet, but I've done a couple of experiments using it with children. Do you know what it is? No. So you have like a wicker basket that's got characters in, little figures, and lots of different little like feathers and pretty stones and shells and felt shapes, and then you put the cloth out in the middle of the space, and then you tell a story by placing the shapes as you go along. It's a little bit, it's probably not, but I kind of link it to Godly Play. I find it quite similar to Godly Play. And some of the Godly Play stories, I think, the lady from Out of the Box isn't in this room, is she? But I think some of the Godly Play stories are easier to use with children with the out of the box resources than some of the out of the box stories are. But then it might be because haven't had the full training yet and I'm not that experienced. But that's really good to use with a group.
Yeah, and especially in schools, because you can ask the I wonder questions
Yes.
and you're not pushing knowledge.
Exactly.
I was going to ask, does anybody know where you can get, you used to be able to get like cameras that could you could put them over an
visualisers.
A visualiser.
Yeah.
Do you know where you can get them from? It's so useful
I
for
don't.
something like that. You could do it on a tabletop and visualise it
Yeah,
in
you
the whole
could.
room then.
I mean, most schools have probably got them in the classrooms anyway, because most schools use them.
Thank you.
But I'm not sure where you would get them from, but that is a good idea, because then if you can't all see.
You might be able to do it with a webcam. So my kids like to do their own stop frame animation, and the way that we actually take the pictures is just using a webcam, and you just press as a space bar to sort of interact with the webcam from the
So asking all about it.
Great, thank you. What I will do, by the way, is if you leave me your email addresses, I'll email this presentation to everybody, and then you can click on the links in it yourself and have a look at the websites. Then there's Open the Book, which is, I think you probably have all heard of that, where you have the script and you go into a school or into your children's group and you're all dressed up and you retell whichever the story is with the costumes. I've not tried that myself yet. I think it does rely on you having enough volunteers to play the different parts, and it does rely on you having the costumes. But it does sound very exciting.
They have moved the goalposts a bit with Open the Book
Oh,
a
have
couple of
they?
years ago, because we used to do it. And then they decided that in order to make Open the Book available in a more secular context, they required anybody who was taking part to register and to have training, either online or in person at places around the country. There's a sort of code of conduct, and there's very strict scripts, because they say Open the Book is a brand and it has to be consistent wherever it's delivered. And we backed off from it because a lot of our team members were elderly and online training was never going to work for them, and travelling to Thirsk or York or somewhere for in-person training wasn't going to work. So what they do say is if you are going to carry on doing what you used to do, just don't call it open the book.
Oh, right, okay.
So I think that's probably the pathway we'll go to. But if you are going to do open the book, you do need to check into the website and make sure you're doing it as they want you to
Okay,
do.
thank you, that's brilliant.
But the children love it. I mean, they'd see you in the supermarket and say, "Oh, you're opening the book."
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's brilliant. One I haven't used, but it's been recommended to me, is Fishy Music. So I've seen it used in some conferences like this that I've been to, and it's another online music company where you get the words up on the screen and the backing tracks. Now they offer RE and Collective Worship package, which has got, I think, 45 songs in it, but they also offer a complete package which has got a range of songs, perhaps more for schools, but that might just be worth having a look at and seeing if that's anything people would like to use. When I was running assemblies as a head in school, BBC are fantastic. Newsround often have clips, BBC Education often have clips. If you Google it and look for whatever story it is you're wanting to tell, quite often there's some really good resources already there on the BBC. YouTube, definitely, though beware of the Americanisms, especially in the videos. And then Twinkle. Now, again, a lot of schools have subscriptions to Twinkle. You can have your own private subscription. You can also have a free membership to Twinkle for a month, which gives you access to a lot of the resources. But one of the most useful things they have is PowerPoints already prepared. Because if you're doing an assembly, you want something visual to keep the children engaged, and it takes a long time to put a PowerPoint together to be ready to actually get in and do it. Whereas places like Twinkle, some of the BBC things, the big star assemblies, they've already got the PowerPoints there. You just need to tweak them to suit yourself. So that's a real help as well. I've just finished, before we share, with a few pictures of some of the things that we've done. So this is the Christingle service. Debbie is responsible for this, and I didn't know Debbie was going to be in this group, so she's named and shamed and famous. So as I say, Debbie has a really good contact with our local infant school, and at Christmas all of the classes in the infant school at different times came down to church, and Debbie ran a Christingle session for them, and it was so lovely. And I've told you this separately, so I'm not just embarrassing it in front of everybody. And that's a picture of some of the children that came down from the infant school in church taking part in the Christingle service, which is, it's a really brilliant thing you can do once you've got that relationship established. And then some of these children are from our kids groups that we do, but they also go to the local schools. So this little girl at the end is one of our sometimes more challenging children, isn't she, Debbie?
Yes.
But when she gets engrossed in things, she really loves it. And her school is one of the schools that I now go into. And when she sees me in there, she's really pleased that she's seen me. You know, oh, it's church lady. So sometimes the children who are perhaps not the ones who sit quietest and listen well are the ones that might spread the word even better. And then the little boy in the middle, again, that's our kids club, but he's from the junior school, but I'm just starting to get links in now, and I've seen him a couple of times. He hasn't been to our club for a few weeks, but I've seen him a couple of times when I've been in the junior school, and it's all about those relationships. And then I've put the third one on. This is actually at junior church, at the other church I work at, but that's out of the box. And the seminar, the workshop that I was just in, which I know some of you were in as well, it was about having really small groups, and we talked about the age range of children. So these three were in our junior church. The first week I decided to try and use out of the box, and the little boy with his back to us there is 2 and didn't want to listen to the story. He just wanted to keep coming into the middle and moving the objects. So afterwards I said, do you want to retell the story? And they absolutely loved it. And these 3, the little boy on the left is on the neurodivergent spectrum and likes to draw mazes, and that's all he'll do. He doesn't like to do anything else apart from draw mazes, but he loved this. And they really got into it. So I just wanted to put that on there to show you one of the resources I've suggested you could use in schools and how it worked really, really well with this little group. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, I'm sure you've got far more experience and far more ideas than I have. So would you like to just share anything you've used in schools, any resources that you've used that are really good, any suggestions you've got or success stories for working in schools? And we've got about 15-20 minutes.
There's Barnabas in Schools is quite good. It's a part of the BRF, the
Okay.
Fellowship.
And just write some things down.
You can get some little assemblies and stuff.
Okay, lovely, thank you. If I jot these down, I'll add them onto the PowerPoint before I send it out to you, and then you've got those as well. So Barnabas in Schools, did you say?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think. It's a while since I've used it, but you can get little ideas for talks or assemblies or things like that in on different Bible topics. I think it comes under the Bible Reading Fellowship.
Is it online? Is it?
Yeah, it's online.
Brilliant, thank you. Anybody else got anything they've used or any experiences they want to share?
We used Alpha as been a really good resource I've used in the past. Obviously, it's kind of whether a school will let you run it. And now I was a teacher at a school, so it was a lot easier for me to do it. But I know one of my friends who's a youth worker in Doncaster, she's run it at a secondary school, and it's been really successful.
So is that based on the Alpha project?
Yes, Alpha course, yeah, but it's for youth, so it's like for 11 to 18 year olds, but it's a really good resource. They've recently redone it, and the videos are really good, it's very interactive and very thought provoking, and not like pushy or anything like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think if you had a good enough relationship with the school to do that, yeah.
Great, thank you. That's lovely.
It's not a resource as such, but it's just a common ground between two different religions, and ministered in an area was multicultural, and all the churches, all the schools got people from all different religions, and they used to come to church, and was trying to find the common ground, and always use the kneelers to connect with the Muslim children. And one young girl came and said, "What is this?" The kneeler said, "Well, it's kneelers." "Oh, kneel, yes." I said, "Yes." So, but it's like a mosque, isn't it? I said, "Yes, the difference in the mosque, you'll have a carpet, isn't it? In churches we have the kneelers." And then the lectern, "What is this for the Bible?" "Oh, in the mosque we do have the Quran as well, and that we use." I said, "That's it." "Oh, we're not so different." To find that common ground where we can connect with children is the same as Jesus on Christmas. The first question is, who is Jesus? Or, a prophet, the Son of God. I said, but we recognize that there is a Jesus that is a good person, so then take from there. So just finding always a common ground, what is common in those religions that would help the children to connect.
That's brilliant.
It worked for us.
Yeah.
It worked. The children loved coming to church. That was their church, even the Muslim kids. It was, messy church. They were always there. We had more Muslim kids in our messy church than in the other group. It was quite funny.
That's brilliant.
But it was a connection there.
We used to be, our church school had 80% Muslim children in it because we took God seriously.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been coming across actually, is that we, at the start of our academic year, and I don't know if anybody else has had this, the head teacher sent us a message, and she was very standoffish. She was saying, we've got a large Muslim population, we want to make sure that we're being fair to everybody. And it's very much I'm going to keep you at arm's length. She softened a little bit through the year, but sort of going into the school and delivering kind of RE assemblies, I've realised actually it's about 50-50. I think she's just not aware, because obviously Christians don't necessarily have a religious dress, so she's not always aware. And I was wondering if anybody else had kind of encountered resistance over kind of not wanting to offend other faith groups, and like how you gently have those kind of conversations with the head teachers going, well, actually, I actually know it's looking more like 50% here. but you might just not be aware of that, you know. So it's that's definitely one we're coming across, but I don't know how to sort of deal with it necessarily.
We used to do Good a Christian because I used to be an RE coordinator to Winston. So we'd have different people from different faith groups and we called it Good a Christian. So people could ask you questions and you could talk about what your faith as a Christian, this is what I believe. And so that's something that you could perhaps offer in our readings. And also the Old Testament stories, they're common ground across our different faiths. Well, not Hindu, but Muslim, Christian children.
I think as well, I mean, the area that we work in and the area the church I belong to is very much monocultural, and it's not so much that the schools don't want you in because they don't want to offend other faiths. It's that sometimes people who aren't Christians have this image of us as Christians, don't they? And think we're going to go in and we're going to be all holy and we're all happy clappy, and that's why just going in for other reasons and getting to know the staff and the children as people can sometimes break down some of those barriers, and then once you're in, then you can start to share the word more. It's not quite the same as what you were saying, but you know, sometimes the barriers aren't because there's another faith in the school, it's because they feel there's no faith in the school and they're a bit scared of the idea of bringing a faith in.
Some questions.
We, before COVID, we were asked by the village junior school to come and help them deliver the Judaism and Christianity part of the curriculum. And so we had, year 2 came down for a whole morning, and we did a little sort of presentation, PowerPoint presentation, showing the differences between Judaism and Christianity. And we had a shofar that they could blow, and we had them dressing up as a vicar and dressing up as a rabbi. And then we had a little quiz worksheet, and then we had them walking around the church and we would explain the different parts of the church. And then in the afternoon we went into school and we did sort of activities. They were all Jewish activities. So we made a Star of David and we made a menorah out of Play-Doh, and we did a scroll. But I always thought it was a bit strange that they asked us to do the whole thing and not to get us to do the Christian bit and to get somebody of the Jewish faith to come in and do the Jewish part of it. But we did that for a few years, and then after COVID it fell away. We didn't see too much of it anymore.
Thank you. And if you can get singing as well, because I was music coordinator at schools, and a lot of teachers are very nervous about teaching music and teaching singing, so if you can go in and do some of that, they will really love you for that as well.
Do you ever do that if there's already an established choir in the school? Could you sort of go alongside and do a block or something like that, or how would that work?
That's a good thing. I think with the schools that we've been going into, they haven't necessarily had music division anyway as part of it.
Yeah.
I do wonder how that would work, whether the teacher taking it up would become
Yeah,
a collaboration or whether it would be separate. I'm not sure.
I think music is a good way in. I mean, I'm a bit biased, but the school I used to work at, Reverend Paul, that I've mentioned before, at Christmas and Easter, that church would have a service that the local schools would come into, and it'd be during the week. And so each of us would prepare a song, and we'd go along and we'd sing our song, and there'd be the rest of the service. But the parents of the children in the choirs or in the class that came along to the church as well. And we're trialling that in a couple of weeks where I work now. We've got the 3 schools coming in. So hopefully it'll work just as well. But it's just a way in, isn't it? Because the kids love to sing and perform, and the parents will come along to watch them sing and perform, and then they've set foot inside the church and they can see it's not a scary building. And hopefully they've been welcomed by lots of your church members and had tea and a biscuit afterwards, you know, and you can share some of the things that you're doing. So that can work. That can work both ways. Okay. Anybody else? Got any more?
We also go in, we have a rota from church that we go in once a week to read a Bible story to class 1 from the Lion Storyteller Bible. And that's, again, that we used to do a little prayer at the end as well, but we've just this last week had a letter from the head teacher saying, would you please not share prayers because we're not a faith school, and some of the parents have objected, and it seems such a shame, you know, that everybody's sort of stepping back further and further because of political correctness and everything else.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything else to share? Got 15 minutes.
I don't know if it's relevant to what you just said, but I think one thing that we're very cautious of when we go into schools is, like, when we do pray, it's using the giveaway kind of tagline that was mentioned over there, is as a Christian I believe this, and then also just saying, like, we're inviting the children to say amen if they agree, not necessarily that, like, they've got to.
Well, we would do it, that's how we were doing it.
But it's a bit sad that
and the head inside is a Christian, but he's got this pressure from the families.
Sorry, I just realised I could show you some of these videos by coming out of that, but is there anything else anybody wanted to share? If not, I can show you one of the Big Start videos that you can see the sort of thing I'm talking about if you wanted to just watch a video for a few more minutes.
Just one thing is, as an idea that our brilliant children's worker organised the Salt Mine to come into the church and invite schools in to come and watch. So it's, you know, it's obviously a higher cost, but it can be really hard and really memorable for children to kind of see a theatre production around Bible topics. So, yeah.
Was that a big cost?
Yeah, big.
That would be great. I'd love to have something.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I remember, as a child, I remember those kind of theatre companies coming into our school and just remember them. They stick with you, don't they? So even if it's just a one-off.
So I'll just, if this is going to work, just show you, this is what you get with the Big Start assemblies. Hold on a minute, it's coming. So the PowerPoint is completely made already for you. If you watch it through, there are activities involved with some of these slides, and there's a script that tells you what you can choose to do as well. I can't remember what these pictures were for. But then it has the video, which is my favourite bit. So as we've got a few minutes, let's just watch the story of the lost sheep. Okay. Sorry, it's gone back to the beginning just a second. There's another cat. If people like cats, I can show you pictures of cats all day. Oops. Sorry, too far.
This is a story that Jesus told to help us understand how God loves every single one of us. And it starts off with the sheep. Out of the way! This isn't your bit just yet. Give the shepherd some space. There we go. Much better. There once was a shepherd, and it was his job to make sure that all his sheep were kept safe. He would lead them to the freshest water and to the greenest grass. He took his job very seriously, and he really did care for all his sheep. This may not sound too hard a job. However, he had loads of sheep. In fact, he had 100 sheep. It was the end of a long day, and the shepherd was carefully counting the sheep back into the fold. 97, good night Jacob. 98, night night Flissy. 99, sleep well Rogan. 100, sweet dreams. Humbug? Wait, Humbug? Has anyone seen Humbug? Well, that's not helpful, is it? One of the shepherd's sheep was missing. I suppose it's okay though. I mean, you still have 99 more sheep. That's plenty of sheep for one person. No? So what are you going to do then? Wait. You're going to search now? Okay, fine. Well, we can come and help too. You see, sheep are quite easily distracted. They often wander off and can get caught up in all sorts of tricky situations. Have you spotted anything yet? Any sign of Humbug from up there? We're heading that way next. Are you sure? It's getting quite late. Fine, if you insist. The shepherd searched in every bush and up every tree for hours and hours. He would not stop until he found his precious missing sheep. Wait, what's that in the distance? It's Humbug! Quick, that way! The shepherd eventually found his lost sheep and rescued it. Fantastic. Bet you two are pleased to see each other. Right, we really should be heading back now. I'm ready for bed. What? The party? To celebrate finding Humbug and all your neighbours are invited. Brilliant! You better lead the way home, and Humbug, you stay close to him too. It's been quite a day. Jesus said that God loves us the way the shepherd loves his sheep. Every single one of us is important to him.
So you get the videos, but you get the full assembly as well. So then it suggests there might be things you might want to discuss with the children. It suggests things you might want to think about, and that you might want to put them into pairs to share things. So it's got the questions as well, and there's a script to it as well. So, and then it's got songs embedded in it as well, with the music and the words. Should start playing. So it gives you, it's got everything you might need. So, and then there's a prayer as well. What I like about these is, though they are written by the team behind Spring Harvest, so they are very, very faith-based, but they do consider that you'll be in schools that may not be faith-based. So on the script it gives you ideas to adapt things if you need to go in a little bit more softly in some schools that you're with.
What's it called again?
Big Start.
Big Start.
Yeah. So I don't know whether any of you have ever been to Spring Harvest, but in the morning in Spring Harvest they do a session called Big Start for all the children and families to go to. And it's probably one of the best sessions of the day because it's really interactive and really fun. And these came from that. And if you're wanting to introduce all-age worship services in your churches, if you don't already do them, these resources are brilliant for that as well.
And are these freely accessible?
No, I'm afraid they're not. No. I think it's about £100 a year. I think for a church. It depends on the size of your church. There's different pricing structures for the different sizes. But as I say, it used to be only available in schools, but now they do offer it into churches as well. So that's that, and I'll just show you, now we can get onto it, I'll show you Sparkyard as well. So you can see what you have on here. Let me just log in.
There is somebody new producing songs that are supposed to be okay Christian songs
Oh,
to
is
use
there?
in schools. I can't remember what they're called.
So on here, you get access to all of the Out of the Ark books and CDs that we use. In fact, if I go Wally Songbooks, so there are lots of different books you can choose from. These songs for every, they're the ones we used to use a lot in schools. There's songs for every Christmas, songs for every Easter, songs for every assembly. There are non-Christian songs in there as well, but there are some excellent Christian songs and lots of ones that schools sing themselves at the minute. And then you've also got the, here, the Essentials ones, Christmas carols, got lots of traditional carols in if you haven't got an organist as well. They're really good with the backing tracks. And Easter hymns, we're using those at the minute, lots of traditional Easter hymns as well as the modern ones. So there's loads of great things in there, and I'll show you how one of them works. So this is one that the school already know, but we're hoping to do in our Easter service, and you get the words on the screen. With the backing track as well. And the words change colour as there's time to sing, you see. But there's a huge range of songs in there, probably thousands of songs. So if you fancy singing in schools, there's plenty in that as well. Okay. I think that's probably, I'm sorry it's not been a very much input, but as I say, you've probably all got more experience than I
That's
have.
really helpful.
But hopefully
Thank you very much.
something from it. So if you